you would imagine from my love of the Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi games, I'm a pretty big fan of really funny RPGs. And the two best comedy RPGs I played this year were Undertale and Citizens of Earth. In my reviews of both these games, I had a lot of nice things to say, but I think it would be fun to see which one of these two reigns supreme. So with all that said, this is Undertale vs. Citizens of Earth. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The main character of Citizens of Earth, the Vice President, is quite possibly my favorite character in all of gaming. His voice, charisma, love of politics, and general obliviousness to the world around him make him a very likable and very hilarious to watch character. However, that's pretty much all the good stuff I have to say about the characters in Citizens of Earth. While the VP is great, the other characters really don't make that much of an impact. While there are some funny moments with the citizens and dialogue, once you recruit them, there's really not that much character to them. That goes the same with the other characters too. Sure, they have some funny moments, but you're not going to really remember them all that much as they don't really impact the story, with a few exceptions. With Undertale, it's the exact opposite. Frisk really is just your average silent protagonist, but it's the other characters where this game shines. Like I said before, Papyrus is awesome. He essentially just wants to capture you so he can join the Royal Guard and get a lot of friends as a result. The amount of glee he gets from putting all these puzzles in your path and his general lack of knowledge on things is really fun to watch. That's not all, there's also his younger brother Sans, who's rather mysterious, likes to tell terrible jokes, and tries to look out for his brother. And there's also Undyne, the hot-headed warrior. There's also Alphys, the nerdy scientist. Every major character in this game is memorable, and I can't bring myself to hate any of the characters in this game, even the ones that are terrifying. In any RPG, the battle system is a big part of the game, and at the center of any good RPG is a good battle system. Undertale has a very unique battle system. You can kill the enemies like any normal RPG, or you can use the act commands in order to make the enemy not want to fight you anymore, so you can then spare them. When it comes to the enemy's attacks, there's a box on the bottom that has a bunch of obstacles in it that you need to avoid, and they can get pretty creative with what you're dodging. And I know you're going to be really shocked by this, but I'm actually giving this to Citizens of Earth. Why? Because while it's a traditional battle system, it's a very well-designed traditional battle system. The system of how you use attacks is very simple, but each citizen is given such a wide variety of attacks that it allows for a lot of experimentation and clever strategies. This made the battles really engaging and fun, and I never got that mad whenever I had to do some level grind. This one might be confusing, so let me explain. I'm doing this based off of how much content the game has to offer. And if I'm gonna be honest, Undertale's a pretty short game. I mean, there are a couple side quests to befriend certain characters throughout the game, but that's about it. I get why this is though. They want you to play through the game multiple times to take different paths and get different endings. Heck, there are 3 different final bosses in the game. Even though if you get the full genocide ending of the game, then it screws you out of getting the true pacifist ending ever again. And if you ever get the true pacifist ending, they guilt trip you out of ever playing through the game again. I get what they were going for, but all this fourth wall breaking really sends out mixed messages as to whether or not they want you to experiment with the game. On a bit of a brighter note, Citizens of Earth is a much longer game. It has more chapters than Undertale, and the chapters themselves are a lot longer as well. Not to mention, the game has a pretty big open world to explore. There are even some areas that you don't even need to go to in order to beat the game. Not to mention, there are tons of side quests for you to do in order to recruit new citizens. Granted, they can vary greatly in fun factor, but that's beside the point. Now, this is a pretty tough category considering the fact that humor is subjective, but here's what I went with. At least in my opinion, the interactions in Citizens of Earth are freaking hilarious, mainly due to how awesome of a character the VP is, and just the fact that I have a thing for political satire. However, I'm not gonna lie, that's about all it does for me. Sure, in battle the descriptions for attacks can be pretty funny, but they're not that funny. And the interactions in the main story are pretty far apart when you consider how many enemies you're gonna be fighting throughout the game. Undertale, on the other hand, is a lot more balanced with its humor. On one hand, at least in my opinion, nothing in Undertale quite meets the absolute best moments in Citizens of Earth, but they come pretty dang close in some areas. Also, the thing is, the frequency of the funny moments in this game is a lot more than in Citizens of Earth. While you won't hit the exceptional highs of Citizens of Earth, you will find funnier moments a lot more often in this game than you would in Citizens of Earth. Okay, this category shouldn't be hard to decide at all. Look, as much as I praised Citizens of Earth's battle system earlier, one of the major downsides of it is it doesn't really make the bosses all that memorable outside of story purposes. While Citizens of Earth's battle system works against it for bosses, Undertale's battle system works in its favor. Considering the way dodging attacks works in this game, the bosses are able to pull out some pretty creative attacks and add some pretty interesting gimmicks to the fight. Here, let me put things in perspective. On my top 15 favorite bosses list, the Mishmaster was number 15. If I'd played Undertale at the time of making that list, Mettaton EX would have been at number 3. Okay, the soundtracks of these games. This should be an easy one. Citizens of Earth's soundtrack simply gets the job done. It's nothing you're gonna go searching for outside of the game, but it's nice to listen to while you're playing it. Undertale, on the other hand, holy crap, this soundtrack is awesome. Megalovania, the track you're listening to right now, is freaking amazing. Metal Crusher and Spider Dance aren't far behind. Even beyond that, you've got tracks like Dummy, Bone Trousel, and Death by Glamour that are really good. And just after that, you've got everything else in this game, which is still really good. At least in my opinion, just about every piece of music from this game is enjoyable in some way. And considering the widespread popularity of this game's soundtrack, it's clear that I'm not alone on this. If you need any evidence of that, just check out SMG4's recent video, The Too Spooky Story. As well as being a really funny video, about half of the music in it is either a track taken from Undertale or a remix of a track taken from Undertale. So gee, I wonder which game won this category. So, Undertale's the better game. Really, this doesn't come as that much of a shock to me. While I had a lot of nice things to say about both games, in terms of the general consensus, Undertale had an overwhelmingly positive response, while Citizens of Earth was more so mixed than anything. Oh my god, I just realized something. This is my first Versus rant this year where the score actually reflects my views on the game. I'll be seeing you guys next week in a video that you've probably already figured out what it's going to be by now.